WrestleMania 37 is done. Night 2 review, ladies and gentlemen. It's down, down, up, up. Your boy here, Apollo. Let's go through night 2 and get this crazy week over with. It's already Monday, so I'm not even going to pretend that I'm in the same week as last. It's been a hectic one of wrestling. Let's get through this. Now we have to talk about that start. Oh, goodness sake. There wasn't anything too relevant on the kickoff for me, so we're just going to start right with the main card. And what do we start with? We start with Randy Orton and The Fiend. The single worst payoff to any feud going into WrestleMania this year. Oh, what a joke. Bray Wyatt should not work for this company anymore. I feel so bad for this man. I gotta rant and get this out of my system now. Okay, where do I even begin? We have been building this basically since October, because that is basically how long The Fiend has been teasing Orton that this is going to start. So Randy Orton comes out. First of all, I'll actually give credit to where credit's due. I got a good emotional feel to seeing Randy happy, seeing the fans again, and overall this really doesn't have much to do with me throwing shade at him. He just came out, did his job, delicious. The Fiend took his sweet time and went through some kind of portal that turned him back to normal. The mask is a bit different, but to be fair, he's trimmed down and looks pretty damn good. He came out thanks to Alexa Bliss and face paint and a Jack-in-the-Box, and he jumped off the giant Jack-in-the-Box onto Randy Orton. And we had the fight, and things were going okay for a standard match that I was not expecting with these two. Firefly Funhouse 101. They should have just copy and pasted what happened to John Cena last year, but they didn't. Minus a good tribute to Luke Harper, aka Big Brody, that Bray did in the match, it wasn't much to really look at. After Bray was about to win, Alexa Bliss then started to just leak goo from her forehead. And Bray paid too much attention to that, and then Orton gave him an RKO and pinned him. And then The Fiend just decided to look at Alexa, still oozing, and then the lights went out and they disappeared. That was trash. That may be some of the worst garbage I've ever seen at WrestleMania. And to be honest, this comes so close to just being as bad as their WrestleMania 33 match. It's not, because I actually got a hell of a pop seeing Randy win. Like, I loved it for all of the wrong reasons. And I guess that's really all I want to go off, because I do not want to get this video on the downer, but I have to start with it because that's how they started the show. They thought this would be amazing to get out of the way quick. I am honestly more amazed this just didn't start off night 1 to get this crap over with. Clearly, the people who wrote night 1 and 2 in some sense were different, or maybe I just need to give credit to the SmackDown writers. I don't know. I don't know where to throw it at. This was terrible. The build was so slow, and to get this as a fan must feel so depressing for all the people who really expecting something out of this. I thought I had some amazing ideas. Another Firefly Funhouse match, or we continue to tease everyone that it's a singles match, and then we have maybe like an animated match on the Ghost ship, which they actually sort of promoted looking like a ghost ship later in the show. There were ways that this could have been great, and they completely let me down. I will officially stay in this video because I'm just having fun with the rant at this point. Like, I'm not taking this too serious, but you guys can hear the pissed off coming from me right now. I'm done with Bray Wyatt. I'm done with The Fiend. I'm done caring about this character. I hope you all throw shade on me if I'm the hypocrite buying into this nonsense again for like a next set of predictions or another video. I'm done. I'm emotionally spent on this trash as it is. So move on with your life. Preferably, I never want to see him in WWE again. I want this creativity to be moved to a different company. And I don't care which company. I don't. I'm not even going to mention any because I just don't care. I'm sick of this man being in World Wrestling Entertainment. It's done. It's over. Move on. Randy, I'm not sure where you're going to go next, but good for you, looking good coming out of this trash. So, I like I said, this isn't about throwing shade at Orton. Orton just went out and did his job. That's really all I can say for him. Moving on to, I guess, the next set of trash, the Women's Tag Team Championship match. You actually got the crowd invested in Tamina, and then they lost. What in God's name are you doing, WWE? That was it. That was clearly it. They actually had a Tamina chant in the crowd, and the crowd were firmly into it enough when Tamina was in control. But then Natalia's legal. She puts in a sharpshooter on Nia Jax, who was not the legal woman. Shayna comes around her and chokes her out with the clutch. Fair play. Shayna got some comeuppance from last year's WrestleMania, losing to Becky Lynch in front of no fans. At least this is something for her, because a lot of respect to the Bays. But this was so pointless. There was no Reginald. Nia and Shayna are still the most bland, boring champions you can have, because I still know the plan will be them dropping the titles and having a breakup angle. Why we didn't do it at WrestleMania, I have no idea. Especially when they actually got the crowd cheering Tamina. That was bad, WWE. So that's 0 for 2 so far. But if I'm correct, it's time to continue on a good note for WrestleMania. Yes, we saved it. Oh, God bless, we saved it. Because I'm pretty sure next up was the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match. And my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. Logan Paul didn't have to screw this whole set of things up. Granted, my predictions for night 2 were absolute trash compared to night 1. Night 1, I only missed one match, WWE Championship match. Night 2, I only got one right, the Intercontinental Championship match. But we're not there yet. We're talking about the U.S. title match. Oh, no, we're not. We're talking about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. My brain just can't handle this. They really tried to recreate some of that magic, and the good kind of magic. There was at least 3 great spots that took me back to Battleground in 2016. My God. First off, the pop-up powerbomb at the start of the match. That was a hell of a pop. And then Sammy giving Owens a brainbuster on the apron. Absolutely insane. Then Owens with his gorgeous pickup suplex on the top rope off. I don't know exactly how to term that move, but when Owens does it, it's just one of the most satisfying things you could ever see. Like a bird just about to take off. It's delicious. Finally, Sami Zayn gets the haluva kick and teases he's going to hit a second one. It's Battleground all over again. Owens does not put up with it. 2 super kicks, a stunner, 1, 2, 3, KO Mania. Picks up another win. Sami Zayn possibly stunned back to reality if that's the way the story's going. Now, what Logan Paul did do, besides sitting his ass on a chair the whole time watching from ringside, got in the ring, sort of threw some shade when he was about to congratulate Kevin. Sami didn't like that. Logan Paul pushed Sami down, and Sami left the ring angry. Owens did not appreciate any shade Logan Paul threw and gave him a stunner, which Logan Paul actually sold. Very lovely. So, Bad Bunny and Logan Paul did their jobs for WrestleMania, and I cannot complain about either one of them. I thought Logan Paul was here to screw Kevin Owens. Didn't turn out to be that. Quite pleased. Moving on, now it's time to talk about the United States Championship match. Match that really 50-50. I couldn't think I was going to feel bad either way, because it's Riddle and Sheamus. They have amazing chemistry, and they put in another banger. Oh man, every count Sheamus was getting, I'm thinking Riddle had like the weakest kickouts, but the finish is what sold this. Riddle's flying off the second rope with something, and Sheamus bro kicks him in midair. It looked so good, sped up. It was just one of those finishes that you cannot hate. Just like I can't hate that Sheamus is now a 3-time United States champion, as much as I wish he'd finally win an Intercontinental title for the obvious reasons. Well done, Sheamus. You got some comeuppance for all of the McIntyre burial, which really wasn't anybody's fault, but at the same time, we could have done so much more with those two. But Sheamus is U.S. champion. Riddle had a pretty decent reign for what it was worth. He even got a little moment with Khali and RVD backstage. So, I think Riddle is still hanging in there pretty well. He hasn't been buried on the main roster yet. I like his goofy character, and I could have lived with him retaining, but he didn't. Sheamus, new United States champion. We'll see what we get moving on. Now, the Intercontinental Championship match. A lot of people were not expecting that, and I can safely say that was the biggest surprise of WrestleMania, was the Intercontinental Championship match. The Nigerian drum fight, Apollo Crews and the champion Big E. Wale played Big E down. Apollo came out with a stick and robe. during his entrance. And we had some drums set up, and like I was thinking, this isn't really about throwing drums at each other, and I do not believe a single drum was thrown at either of the competitors. Um, and we did do some stairs. It should have been just a stair match because this is the feud that would have deserved it rather than Big Show and Rowan for some dumb reason. Um, and they were putting in the work. Big E caught Cruz and gave him a basically rock bottom on stairs outside. Looked fantastic. And Apollo tried to come back, tried to give Biggie the frog splash through a table. Did not work. Biggie hits the big ending. But right when you say it's over, out comes Dabba-Kato from Raw Underground, a.k.a. Babatunde from the greatest Royal Rumble ever in Saudi Arabia. Now, I believe, has been given a trademark of, is it Colonel Aziz or Captain Aziz? This is one that I will actually check my phone for you guys because I heard about it and I don't have it quite memorized yet. Hold on. Commander Aziz. That is the new name thrown shade to Babatunde, which I wish they would just kept Babatunde. I love the name. That's like one of the best names I can ever say in my life. Babatunde. He came in, and at first I wasn't sure what happened. I believe he hit Biggie with a Samoan spike, or a spike of some kind, like the thumb to the throat, gave him a choke slam, and then just threw Cruz on him, and Apollo Cruz is the new Intercontinental Champion, and I actually love it. Why would we have Cruz lose this match that he picked after he had lost like 8 Intercontinental Championship matches in a row in like, oh my gosh, the last few months, something like that. I'm just making up numbers at this point. But it made sense. I love that Apollo's character change has actually gotten him back not only a singles match at WrestleMania, but a new partner, bodyguard, whatever you want to call him, commander, and his first Intercontinental Championship. His star is still shining. A character that WWE has thrown in the slumps by so far has finally made it to something. And Big E losing is not a bad thing. Think about it, guys. He can go on to the world title scene, and now he's looking pretty good for it. It's either him or Cesaro or both for hopefully SummerSlam. I don't know. I'm keeping my mind on it. But right now, some new champions coming our way. And that's literally how the next match went to play too. Because the next match was the Raw Women's Championship, and Rhea Ripley won. It was a good match. The spots were pretty damn decent. There was a DDT off of the apron to the floor, and if you haven't seen it, I'd watch it. It scared the crap out of me watching. And then sort of out of nowhere, Rhea just hits Riptide and wins. I didn't hate it, and Rhea definitely deserved it. I just feel weird that throughout this time, Sasha Banks and Asuka have not won at WrestleMania. Both women's championships changed hands, and I love that Bianca and Ripley are owning the division. It's just weird when you can look at the positive and the negative completely equal on the scale to me. It's a weird feeling. I feel bad for Sasha and Asuka. I sort of feel more worse for Asuka than Sasha, though, in this case, just because Asuka had held it since SummerSlam, and this is really the only good match that WWE decided to give her with the championship involved, minus Sasha Banks matches. So, I don't know where we go from here, but Rhea's a champion. I guess the plan will be Charlotte coming back rather than keeping the belt with Asuka and Becky Lynch coming back. I don't know what the plan is, but congrats to Rhea Ripley. It definitely didn't bring the mood down. It was sort of a surprise ending, if anything. And before we get to the main event, I guess another big disappointment of the weekend. So the whole time I'm thinking, okay, Bayley's got to be having her own segment besides just following around people backstage and interrupting Michael Cole. And technically she did. She interrupted Hogan and Titus, who are back out on the stage. And I'm thinking, okay, so who's coming out? Is it going to be Becky Lynch? Because that is apparently who has been teased the most. It was just the Bellas, and to be fair, Bayley threw a John Cena name toward Nikki, and I actually sort of popped for that because Bayley's just great. But then they just beat her up and threw her down the stage, and the Bellas just celebrated with Hogan and Titus. That was an unnecessary choice and quite a disappointment rather than like something of relevance, for example. like Bailey crushing them. I would have enjoyed that. Now it's time to talk about the main event, something that didn't bring it down because I do have a lot to say about this match. Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Edge and Daniel Bryan might just be the greatest WrestleMania main event where the heel champion retained for all of the right reasons and storyline behind him. Might be. Might just be. It was a great match. Jey Uso was doing his part for the majority of the beginning until finally he got taken out and apparently helped to the back, but not the last time we saw him. And the teases were incredible. First of all, Reigns and Edge did a double spear, basically shouldered each other, running at each other, which a friend of mine had been calling for months. Daniel Bryan came so close after the yes lock on both men, but just could not get the submission. And Edge speared Roman on the outside. After Reigns had powerbombed Bryan through a table, Edge speared Reigns off of stairs. That was amazing. And then Edge and Bryan both had a crossface / label lock on Reigns with part of a steel chair in Reigns' mouth. I'm just wondering if this is a double submission, and of course it wasn't until Edge finally snapped. He got chairs, a concerto to Bryan. Before he could get Reigns, Uso came back, got Edge distracted. Reigns hit a concerto on Edge after a spear, and then threw Edge on Daniel Bryan, but made sure both their shoulders were down and pinned both of them to retain the Universal title. I can safely say that, one, I do not feel cheated. Two, I have no problem with Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania this year. And three, after a long time, since 2015, we built Roman Reigns up to the main event of WrestleMania for all the right reasons with his character and gave him a win that made sense. They finally booked Roman Reigns to the main event of WrestleMania the right way. I cannot wait to see what's next. I can't wait to see who Roman's next challenger is and how long he holds the championship potentially. To this point, rumor is he could hold it to next year's and they have Roman Brock again. But now that Roman is working this character to a T, I kind of want to see them do it again and see what we get. I don't know about Edge. At least the good thing about picking Daniel Bryan in the predictions, I do feel crushed for the people who picked Edge and really wanted to see him win. But just the fact that they turned Edge heelish going into this match, like a little over a month ago or under a month, it didn't look right that he'd win like this, where with the dates aligned, the stars aligned for this moment. The day 10 years ago he gave up the championship and retired. It didn't look right for the character, and he didn't win. Daniel Bryan, as much as I wanted to see it, picking Daniel Bryan in WWE is such a risk that you expect him to lose, but you know you're going to have a great time cheering the best underdog. And I did. But then Roman Reigns brings the reality back to WWE. It was tough for a lot of people, I have no doubt, but honestly, this felt like the right call. I can't wait to see what's next. I can't wait to see it. For personally, I want Roman to have a new challenger for Backlash. I'm not calling it WrestleMania Backlash. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I hope Edge and Daniel Bryan, and this is a risk, but this is my prediction. I think Edge and Daniel Bryan will continue feuding, blaming each other for what happened at WrestleMania. Because let's be honest, they both cost each other the win multiple times throughout the match, as you do. But I think they should have a match at Backlash, and hear me out, career versus career. I don't know what's motivating me to pick this, but for some reason right now, it feels so right that these two are going to have another match of significant importance. Maybe not career versus career, but to me it just sounds so perfect in my head. because we just feel like these two are not going to be doing this after another year or something. Like, is this Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania? Could it be Edge's last WrestleMania? I don't know. I don't know. But regardless of what they do, I hope they have a match at Backlash. Hope it absolutely tears the house down. I have no idea what they have in store, but that's what I'm hoping for. And I think that's it. I think that's it for the video, guys. WrestleMania 37, night 2. Night 1 was solid. I don't think I had an issue with anything in night 1 to a T that I complain about a match individually. Night 2, we started with the worst kind of trash you can imagine, but we made it to the other side pretty well. I think this WrestleMania was a pretty good success, and let's see what we get in the next little while. Thank you guys if you've been watching this lovely week of wrestling with me. And thank you if you've checked out the channel, supported me lately. Leave a like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you think's next. What was your favorite match of WrestleMania? Did you have a favorite moment? Did you have a favorite opportunity that didn't quite happen like my predictions went? What do you think could have been done right, wrong, etc., etc.? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in another video. I don't know when that will be, but life goes on. Another WrestleMania in the books. It's time for a new year of WWE. Keep it real.